Thank you for joining us this morning. Civil society groups are rallying one another to push for an amendment of a constitution to make appointments of persons onto sensitive state agencies and commissions transparent and free of partisanship. It comes on the heels of a call by the Coalition of Election Observers, CODEO, Star Ghana and the Civic Forum Initiative for the resignation of two newly sworn-in members of the Electoral Commission, Dr. Piahene and Salima Ahmed Tijani. According to the CSOs, the two individuals are politically exposed and have in the past demonstrated actively their association with the governing New Patriotic Party. Hence, they cannot serve on the commission in fairness and without bias. We'll hear from a former Chief Justice, Sophia Akuffo, shortly. But here is Frederick Fredegbe. He is the spokesperson for the Coalition of Civil Society Groups.
We are painfully aware that voluntary and constitutionally grounded revocation of these unfortunate and democratically problematic EC appointments by the President is extremely unlikely. However, nothing stops the affected appointees, namely Dr. Peter Piahene and Hajia Salima Ahmed Tijani, from voluntarily and honorably resigning from membership of the EC. This will be in the supreme interest of our country's continued democratic progress, election peace and credibility, and indeed the overall national interest. While both Dr. Piahene and Madam Salima Ahmed Tijani meet the generic benchmark qualification stipulated under Article 44(1), we believe strongly that, having regard to the independent and non-partisan nature of our Electoral Commission and its mandate, the spirit of the Constitution demands far more in the way of one's suitability to be a member of the EC. We accordingly call on Dr. Peter Piahene and Hajia Salima Ahmed Tijani to do the honorable thing and resign.
Well, former Chief Justice Sophia Akuffo has been weighing in on this subject. She told my colleague Judith Awatwe-Tando on the sidelines of a constitutional review dialogue organized by the Institute of Economic Affairs, IEA, there are specific provisions in the Constitution to deal with the concerns about the appointment of alleged politically exposed persons onto sensitive agencies. But she believes the mode of appointments onto these agencies and commissions could be more open and transparent.
The conflict of interest is something which always can be dealt with, whether it is written in black and white or not. If somebody feels that somebody has a conflict of interest, and conflict of interest does not necessarily have to be actual, it can be potential. And so it's up to the public to see what they want to do about it. If it's okay with them, why not? That's all I can say. So even CODEO could even take the matter to court if they want to. Yes. All I know is that the only thing I can do is maybe analogy on the bench. If there's somebody you've worked with before, or you're about to maybe serve on a very important committee with, you'll be interacting very actively. If they have a matter before you, it's up to you to decide whether you will recuse yourself or not. For me, I would recuse myself, not because it's likely to influence me, but also in the justice or doing the right thing in public service. A lot of it also depends on public perception. Yes, and I think something to do with national elections and so on, public perception is very important. That's one of the appointments that people have been talking about, plus so many other powers of appointment into certain positions where the relationship, and for it to be a healthy relationship, if there could be another methodology or process or procedure for the appointment, it will be more desirable. Yes. Like even the appointment of judges. In most countries these days, it is not a direct nomination and appointment at the very top level. It's not by the head of state. It is through an independent commission, most of whose members are either from certain selected bodies, or they are even voted onto it. Yes, and it's better that way.
Let's do some more stories now. The Ghana Online Drivers Union has kicked against what they describe as a hasty rollout of a digital transport fee, calling for broader consultation. President of the union, Francis Tinge, says the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority, DVLA, and other partners must ensure proper monitoring in order for the digital fee to benefit all parties. He wants transparency in the event the DVLA decides to go ahead after consultations.
Plead on the government, the DVLA, to first of all cease or put on hold the collection of 1 cedi or the introduction of the digital transport fee of 1 cedi. They should hold on for now until the system, we have heard that the system will be fully integrated, will be fully ready in somewhere in second week of May. So we are just a few weeks away. So we are pleading on the government to actually hold on for now, let the system be ready, and let all the app companies be integrated into the system, allow the drivers to sign up, we try it, and then they can start implementing the fee, because we cannot pay for something that is not in operation. The suggestions we are making will help the government itself. Let's assume from Saturday till now, all monies that they collected, the app companies collected, what is the actual, can they actually account for it? But should the system that the government want to introduce is in effect, all drivers sign up, all riders sign up, then they have that data, they can actually account for the money. And what we are saying is to help the government make money, to help the investors, nobody will lose.
Well, the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority, DVLA, in the last few hours has ordered all digital transport operators, Bolt, Uber, Yango, Shaxi, and others, to halt the collection of a new digital transport fee. Government, through the DVLA, commenced the implementation of a digital transport fee on all rides as tax on April 4. Customers were to be charged an amount of 1 cedi as a digital transport fee on all rides. The latest directive drew angry reactions from drivers and patrons, with some operators already serving notice of increasing their fares. But in the last few hours, we are now learning the DVLA has directed the implementation of a digital fee be halted. The authority, in a statement, indicated their decision comes after observing the mixed reaction and concerns of the general public towards implementation of the said fees. The authority says it will consult with the Ministry of Transport and other stakeholders for the way forward. Away from that, the Kusau Traditional Council is questioning why many attacks in the area are committed close to a police station. The latest is the attack of 3 immigration officers, in which one of them was killed.
The shooting of persons very close to the Boku police station in recent times is becoming one too many, and therefore alarming. For instance,
a carpenter was shot dead in August of last year at a wood market about 100 meters from the police station, and numerous buildings were set on fire. 2 males were also shot and killed on February 7 this year, about 50 meters from the same Boku police station. On Monday, April 5, just 2 months later, 3 immigration officers were attacked once more about 100 meters from the police station. The frequent assaults on innocent bystanders within the traditional area were denounced by the Kusog Traditional Council.
why is the police station that is supposed to be a safe security zone for the public now turning otherwise. We are highly disappointed.
They want the security forces to take extraordinary measures to find the criminals and bring them before the law.
At the turn of events, and condemn in no uncertain terms these dastardly acts that have further dented the image of Boku.
The Traditional Council also warned the local media, both traditional and social, against making statements that incite violence.
We strongly recommend that these stations be regulated in their programs. For instance, they could be banned from discussing the Boku issue.
And you know, the latest incident involving the attack on 3 immigration officers has caused quite a lot of consternation among members of the public. Security analysts and experts have been warning that the Boku situation could escalate if government does not find a lasting solution to the matter. 1 immigration officer we know has died. 2 others remain in hospital battling for their lives. In the last few hours, the Upper East Regional Minister, who is also the chair of a Regional Security Council, Stephen Yakubu, has announced a deployment of 1,000 military officers to the area to ensure calm following the latest incident. According to the minister, any individual who is found to have been part of the latest attack on the immigration officers will be brought to book. We know there's been tension in Boku in the last few months following series of attacks, especially on security officials. We know the Defense and Interior Committee of Parliament sometime also aborted a trip to the area because of the tensions there. Away from that, Commissioner of Police Nathan Kofi-Boakye has bowed out of the Ghana Police Service after an impactful and dedicated 34 years of service. He will be remembered for his fearless, forceful, professional dedication to duty that has made the name Kofi-Boakye synonymous with the rule of law.
A brief ceremony at his official residence on Wednesday, April 5, marked his last day as a police officer. It was attended by members of the Police Management Board, former Inspector Generals of Police, and other high-profile security officers. Commissioner of Police Nathan Kofi-Boakye was full of gratitude to all who supported him during his duty in the Ghana Police Service.
All good things come to end, but the end doesn't come. Today marks my return to civilian life. Therefore, it will not be out of place to acknowledge people who throughout this police journey have made it a little more easier.
COP Kofi-Boakye is nicknamed Commander 1 when he ruthlessly faced off with armed criminals in the Ashanti region as a regional commander. Commissioner of Police Nathan Kofi-Boakye was enlisted into the Ghana Police Service as an under-cadet in 1989 with the rank of Chief Inspector. He rose through the ranks to COP on June 1, 2016 through his selfless dedication, loyalty and commitment to duty. He held various command positions and appointments, including Director General Research, Planning and Transformation, Director General Police Intelligence and Professional Standards Bureau, PIPS. COP Kofi-Boakye holds Master's degree in Public Administration, Barrister of Law and Postgraduate Certificate in Police Administrations, among others. The Director of Religious Affairs at the Police Headquarters, DCOP, Very Reverend Father George Arthur, wished COP Kofi-Boakye well in his retirement.
You need to succeed in the state of world. Don't be deceived by your wealth. Don't be deceived by your position to deny the existence of God. You'll be defined by history. Never forget your past. Be careful in condemning your predecessors.
His profile also described COP Kofi-Boakye as upright, a disciplinarian, visionary, team player, and a person who was committed to his job.
Let's do some politics now. Heavy security was deployed to the premises of the Ashanti Regional NDC party office when it got to the turn of Asawase constituency to go through the vetting process for the parliamentary primaries. With a charged atmosphere, the incumbent Mohammed Mutaka Mubarak and his closest contender Masaudu Mubarak stormed the vetting center with hundreds of supporters.
Anticipating a chaotic scene, security was beefed up at the vetting grounds even before the aspirants and their supporters arrived. The entry of the Asawase MP, Muntaka Mubarak, and his contender, Masaudu Mubarak, led to a tensed atmosphere. In less than 30 minutes, both aspirants had successfully gone through the vetting process. For the first time in many years, Muntaka will face a competition in the primaries.
They say elections are never over and it's over. But I can assure you that we are working very hard to make sure that this is just a minor challenge about primaries. The main is the 2024 election. My prayer is that when it is over, we need to unite and make sure that we retain Asawase in a very decisive way. We should make sure that we don't fracture Asawase, because Asawase is the heart of NDC in Ashanti region, and we must do everything to protect that.
Masaudu, who missed the opportunity to contest the MP in the last elections, is confident of causing an upset.
I believe that democracy has triumphed today. What happened previously was undemocratic. Today, I have been able to have an incident-free vetting. If you look at what is happening within the constituency, we are pained that there hasn't been much progress in terms of the human development element of development within the constituency. So overall, we are very, very much enthusiastic about our chances, and we believe that inshallah victory is assured.
The division among NDC constituency executives in Asawase appear to have deepened, as some of the executives are in the camp of Masaudu, whilst others are in the camp of Muntaka.
Now, the Trades Union Congress TUC has called on President Akuffo to intervene and resolve the ongoing issues at Sonon Asogli Power Ghana Limited, or the TUC will picket the premises of a company in the next 5 working days. Management of the company has dismissed 3 union leaders for joining the Ghana Mine Workers Union. Deputy Secretary General of TUC Joshua Ansa spoke with our labor correspondent Danilo Poku in Accra.
We are calling the president, we are calling on the ministers, we are calling of all the stakeholders who are in charge of that to ensure that this matter is brought to rest, is brought to conclusion amicably, so that we can have our industrial representative record. Otherwise, they will not see peace, and we also continue to do whatever action that we plan to do. The Public Order Act says that if you want to picket, it's 5 days. If you want to go on strike or demonstration, it's 7 days. So we will explore all those avenues and act accordingly. You will not go to court. This is our right. Labour Commission is the rightful person to go to court. They have instructed that the union was legally formed and management should go and do the right thing. It's like they are not respecting the rules and the directive by the Labour Commission. And I think that unions like organized labor, like TUC, like all organized labor associations in Ghana, so far as they are leading workers, should not sit down and look on. Just this afternoon, unfortunately, what the news coming from Sunyani, one of the timber companies, that a Chinese managing director has pointed a gun at a deputy general secretary of the timber workers, in Sunyani, as I speak to you now. If you continue to look on this, one day all of us will be heard. But we don't think that we can contain such behaviors in this our country. So we are calling our president to look sharp on some of these issues. Otherwise, this country will not see peace.
Now, a lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School, Professor Godfrey Bokwing, wants government to take a relook at expenditure cuts to enable the country close its funding gap if it really wants to have a successful International Monetary Fund program. He says the only way to close the funding gap is to get Ghana's bilateral and multilateral partners to commit to debt forgiveness or fresh funding to secure the next 3-year deal.
The IMF is saying that the funding gap is such that approving the program will not be effective because the funding gap in the 2023 budget alone is over $5 billion. The IMF will give you 3 billion over 3 years. And if the gap for this year alone is 5 billion, it means that the program can only achieve limited effectiveness. That is where the real issue is. In closing the gap, you can look within. Domestic, we look at debt exchange. You can close the gap not only by increasing revenue, but you can also look at expenditure cut. And what surprises everybody is that government's unwillingness to cut expenditure tells you that leadership doesn't want to respond appropriately. Leadership wants to get away whilst it burdens the system.
On the international front, a half-brother of Togo President Nyasingbe, who has been in prison since 2009 over a failed coup attempt, has been evacuated to Gabon because of his deteriorating health. His lawyers, Zeus Ajavon, confirmed to AFP news agency that Bacha Nyasingbe, who suffered from diabetes, was being treated in a hospital in Gabon. In 2011, Togo's Supreme Court sentenced Bacha Nyasingbe, the former defense minister, to 20 years in prison for plotting a coup against his half-brother. He was arrested in 2009 as he sought refuge in the United States Embassy in Togo's capital, Lomé. He had been in the military wing of a hospital in Lomé since June 2021. That'll be all for the news here on New Day. If you log on to 3news.com, you find a lot more stories plus updates of those we brought you here this morning. I am Komla Adum, handing over now to the New Day team, Roland Walker and Bella Mundi.